Greetings, upstanders. Dr. O here. And I don't know if anybody caught it when Trump was having his press conference the other day, but one of the things that he said, he didn't talk about crime reform, stopping crime. Well, you mentioned those things a little bit, but one of the phrases that he used specifically was he said, "We need a crime bill." Y'all, 1994, has anyone forgotten? This was this is a man who lives in the 90s. Like, to him, every black young person out there is a Central Park 5 nowadays. Like, he lives in that time period, right? This was a time when he taught, put out the ad to get these five black and brown boys, executed. This was, around that time. Central Park 5, now the exonerated 5. But if you don't know what the crime bill was, the crime bill was the thing that sent mass incarceration to the levels that we know today. When you look at videos and when people are talking about Hillary Clinton using terms like super predators and all of this was all part of the justification that people were using for this crime bill. And who are some of the people who were actually putting out the need for the crime bill? There were members of the Congressional Black Caucus who were working with other Democrats and Republicans for this need to stop crime. Remember, this is the 90s. This is the crack epidemic. This is everything that's going on in these streets, and people were telling politicians, you have to do something about crime. And that's how we got the omnibus crime bill. I was in high school at the time. I was working down at the state, whatever, the Massachusetts Department of Justice, whatever it was. I was working on the bill, like collecting research and getting information. But when we talk about what we call mass incarceration now, when you heard people like Joe Biden say that he regrets his support for the crime bill, members of the Congressional Black Caucus who talk about they regret their support for the crime bill because nobody knew what was going to happen, this is what Trump is trying to bring back. He said we need a crime bill. And I'm going to post this link at the bottom. You can look at this is from the American Civil Liberties Union. They have an article that talks about how the 1994 crime bill fed the mass incarceration crisis. So you can read all of this on your own. But the fact of the matter is, they talk about, it's true that the federal government, let's go to the beginning, the 94 crime bill that created tough new criminal sentences and incentivized states to build more prisons and pass truth and sentencing laws is getting new scrutiny. This was during the 2020 election cycle. It did so much. As it says here, the crime bill did not only trigger mass incarceration, but it certainly encouraged mass incarceration to grow even further. The 1994 law was the largest crime bill in the history of the United States. It was meant to make a statement, and it did in at least two ways. Now, what is Trump? Everything is about, I gotta be the best. I gotta be the biggest. Everything has to be better than anybody who did it before. Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize. I gotta have everything he does has to be bigger and better. So then he mentioned we need a crime bill. He is referring back to this. One of the things that it did, according to the ACLU, the crime bill gave the federal stamp of approval for states to pass even more tough on crime laws. By 1994, all states had passed at least one mandatory minimum law. But the 1994 crime bill, y'all, listen to this, encouraged even more punitive laws and harsher practices on the ground, including by prosecutors and police to lock up more people and for longer periods of time. Last thing I'll read from this article. Second, the 1994 law shaped Democratic Party politics for years to come. People talking about Democratic responses. Under the leadership of Bill Clinton, Democrats wanted to wrest control of crime issues from Republicans. Does this sound familiar? Wrest control of crime issues from Republicans. So the two parties began a bidding war to increase penalties for crime, trying to outdo one another. The 1994 crime bill was a key part of the Democratic strategy to show that it can be tougher on crime than Republicans. This is also what we're going to see going into 2026 and 2028, where the Newsoms and all of these guys are going to have to show that they have to be tougher on crime than the Republicans. Like, this is all cyclical, y'all. The crime bill destroyed communities, and there are still lasting implications from what happened then. And Trump wants to do this all over again. He wants to do it all over again. And again, you have to be mindful of the language this man uses. He said, we need a crime bill. That harkens back to all of that. And so again, Trump, the Republicans are playing chess while too many people are playing checkers or don't even know how to get on the board. And while these distractions keep happening in terms of him throwing out everything to distract from the Epstein files and all of this, they have a real plan in place to take mass incarceration to even higher levels. Look, that's why they're partnering with the private prisons, who are some of his biggest funders. These are the guys who said this is going to be the best time for our business ever. Like, the blueprint is being rewritten. Go know your history, know your study, understand the times that we are living in. We can't just be about what's in the moment. We got to look at what's coming long term. This man is looking to put that crime. And y'all who are watching this, who lived through that and lived through the cons, put in the comments. Let people know. This stuff doesn't just come out of nowhere. This is real stuff. And like they say, those who don't understand history are doomed to repeat it. Trump wants another omnibus crime bill with the consequences going to be even more disastrous. And we have to make sure that doesn't happen. We have to be upstanders and not bystanders to this. Let me know what you think. Peace.